In April 2021, sheriff's deputies drive out to a quiet home in a tiny town in rural Colorado, following up on a worried phone call. Nothing about the house looks unusual from the outside. But when they go inside, they find something none of them will ever forget. In one of the rooms, set up almost like a shrine, are the mummified remains of a woman. Her body is wrapped in a sleeping bag, strung with Christmas lights, with glitter painted around her eyes. The people living in that house weren't trying to hide her. They were worshipping her. To them, the body wasn't a tragedy at all. It was the resting place of a god who was about to come back to life. Her name was Amy Carlson, and to the people who followed her, she wasn't a person. She was Mother God. To understand how this happened, you have to go back to who Amy was before any of it. She didn't grow up as some mysterious spiritual guru. She was born in Kansas in 1975, an ordinary woman with an ordinary life. She got married, she had children, and at one point, she was working a regular job at a fast food restaurant. There was nothing about her early years that pointed to what was coming. But sometime in the mid-2000s, something changed in Amy. She came to believe she was far more than a normal person. She left her family and her old life behind, and she started telling people online that she was a divine being. She said she was God in human form, sent to save the world. And what's insane is that people believed her. Through videos and live streams on the internet, Amy began gathering followers from all over the country. She didn't preach in some hidden temple. She did it out in the open, online, where anyone could watch. Her followers ran the group's life, almost like a non-stop reality show, filming and streaming for hours every day, narrating their beliefs to anyone who tuned in. She told her followers she had lived more than 500 separate lives. She claimed she had been Jesus and Joan of Arc and Marilyn Monroe, and that she was billions of years old. She said she was here to lead humanity into a higher dimension, a great awakening, and that one day she would ascend to save them all. To an outsider, it sounds impossible that anyone would buy this. But Amy was very good at finding people at the lowest points in their lives. People who were lost, lonely, or searching for meaning, and offering them something powerful. The feeling that they finally belonged to something bigger than themselves. She gave them a family and a purpose. And slowly, that became a trap. As the group, which they called Love Has Won, grew, the control grew with it. There was a man called Jason in the group who played the role of Father God beside her. Members were expected to show total devotion. Many of them moved to be near her, cut off contact with their old friends and family, and handed over their money. The group made cash by selling spiritual sessions and healing products online, including supplements made from metals like silver. Day by day, an ordinary spiritual chat room had turned into something far more controlling, a place where questioning Mother God simply wasn't allowed. From the outside, families across the country could see what was happening to the people they loved, even when those people couldn't. They watched relatives disappear into the group, change completely, and stop returning their calls. Worried parents and former members started speaking out, saying, Love Has Won was brainwashing people and taking their money. Some reported it to the authorities, and the complaints piled up. The group also became infamous. In 2020, Amy and her followers turned up on the Hawaiian island of Kauai, and locals there were so alarmed by them that crowds gathered in protest, throwing eggs and rocks and smashing the windows of the house they were staying in. It got bad enough that the island's mayor stepped in to help arrange for the group to leave, and they eventually made their way back to Colorado. And at the very center of it all, Amy herself was falling apart. Behind the image of a glowing, all-powerful goddess was a woman whose health was collapsing. She drank heavily. She barely ate. And for a long time, she had been swallowing colloidal silver, one of those metal-based products the group sold, which can slowly poison the body. Her skin had even turned a strange grey-blue color. Her own followers watched her get sicker and sicker, and yet, because they believed she was a literal god, the idea that she might actually die didn't fit anything they believed. In the spring of 2021, Amy Carlson died. She was 45 years old. A coroner later found that her death came down to a mix of heavy alcohol use, the effects of barely eating, and years of swallowing that silver solution. There was no foul play. Her body had simply given out. But for her followers, a god couldn't die. So instead of reporting her death, some of them took her body and drove it back to the group's home in Colorado. They wrapped her, decorated her with glitter and Christmas lights, and set her up in that room like a shrine, fully believing she was about to ascend and return to them. It only ended because one member couldn't go along with it anymore and called the police. There was also a young child being kept in that house, which brought the authorities to the door. When deputies walked in and found Amy's remains, a story that had been playing out online for years suddenly exploded into headlines around the world. 7 of Amy's followers were arrested at the house, facing charges connected to the handling of her body and to the children inside. But in the end, the legal side fizzled out. The charges against the members were eventually dropped, and many of them walked away, still believing every single word of what they'd been taught. When reporters asked some of them whether Mother God would come back, one answered, completely seriously, that maybe she would return on a starship. Now it's easy to look at all this from the outside and think you would never fall for it, that only foolish people end up in a group like this. But that isn't true. The people who followed Amy Carlson weren't stupid. A lot of them were just hurting, searching for meaning, and they met someone who promised them exactly what they needed to hear at the exact moment they needed to hear it. That's how these groups work. They don't pull you in with the strange stuff. They start with love and belonging, and they draw you in one small step at a time, until one day you're standing in a room defending a body wrapped in Christmas lights. Do you think you'd be able to spot the warning signs if you were the one being pulled in? Or do you think almost anyone, in the right circumstances, could end up believing something like this? Let me know down in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more cases like this.